What's up? What's up, everybody? Peace, 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 peace. I'm back at it again. This is Info Media Reacts. I thank you all for coming through again. We're going to get into it. This one is going to be a good one because the last video I did a few weeks back as it relates to Kendrick Lamar, the concert that he had on Juneteenth, okay? Let's not forget that on Juneteenth, he had a concert at the Forum in Inglewood, California, bringing together street organizations, those in the black community. And of course, there were people that weren't from the black community that showed up at the concert itself. And he showed up and showed out. And of course, he had a little beef with Drake. And he brought together so many people on the stage. There was no fighting. There was no nonsense. And it was great unity. It was an honor, not only him having this sort of pop-up show, but he also was doing it in honor that it was a special day, that it was Juneteenth, the day that black people were emancipated in this country, so-called emancipated. Okay, let me remind you again, right here. Juneteenth, short for June 19th, marks the day when federal troops arrived in Galveston, Texas in 1865 to take control of the state and ensure that all enslaved people be free. The troops' arrival came a full 2.5 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation. Juneteenth honors the end of slavery in the United States and is considered the longest-running African-American or black holiday. On June 17th, 2021, it was assigned officially as a federal holiday. Let me also remind you of this too right here, everybody, that it was the order. It was General Order number 3 that brought about the ending of slavery as we know it at that time. Of course, it's very important to realize that Lincoln was more concerned about keeping the Union together, and he would do whatever he needed to do, whether it was freeing some slaves or not. He's talked about that. I just want to break that down. The reason why this is important is because you had a podcaster, you had a podcast on the YouTube streets called the Food Community YouTube channel, and you had this man right here who calls himself, this is the man who was really stirring the pot. He calls himself L.A Eyekon, and it's his channel, and that's where the original content came from. The clip that went viral when he was talking about feeling that Mexicans were not represented at the concert. They were having conversations about whether it was about Juneteenth. This man right here, you see right here, didn't have his history right, didn't have it together. He mixed Juneteenth up with the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre of 1921. We know that well, Black Wall Street. He had that mixed up. Then he mixed up Selma, which was the march in Selma to the Capitol because of Voters' Right Act, which none of y'all would be able to vote or even be in this country if black folks, black Americans that is, would have never engaged in a sacrifice of that nature. So he got all of his history facts all mixed up. He had Juneteenth on the 16th, all sort of things. So he did what I would call a damage control. He came out with a video, and it wasn't even a real apology. He didn't really say, hey, I apologize if I disrespected the black community, if I disrespected Juneteenth, although he did say big ups to Juneteenth. But he gave this sort of excuse that he did not know this and he did not know that. But when he was in the podcast on his channel, the other host on his show or the other guest, they had said to him, do you think it has something to do with the fact that it was Juneteenth. And this man was like, well, I don't know. Is it 16th or 17th? And then he made the disrespectful statement by saying, well, Mexican people have been harmed in this land for a very, very long time, as if anybody has denied that. So his video, to me, was half-hearted and was just an excuse of damage control, because he was taking and getting hit with a lot of, and I'm going to play what he said. He was getting hit with a lot of backlash. He said it himself. The video went viral. He was getting backlash, the whole 9 yards. This is the man right here. Everybody was asking me, hey, what podcast is this? This is the Food Community YouTube channel where he has a podcast. Remember, he got on there and said, well, I'm not a hip hop artist. I don't care about being on stage. I just felt like Mexicans were underrepresented. And then when he was asked the question, I'm going to say again, when he was asked the question, do you think it has something to do with Juneteenth? He was so ignorant to the knowledge of it that he had it on the wrong date. He had the wrong history, facts all mixed up. I think it's just pure ignorance, but it's also a bad reflection on our poor educational system. The fact that we don't teach real history in this country about everybody's issues, everybody's past. So he got on his podcast and he said, hey, I apologize. He didn't say he didn't apologize. He just simply said, check this out. He had the nerve to say in his response to everything that he thought that it was just a regular concert. But he realized, okay, now it's about Juneteenth. And then he was able to explain, because I guess someone either helped him do the research, he was able to explain what Juneteenth was actually all about. And then he said he said, hey, big ups to Juneteenth, as if Juneteenth was a person, a human. Big up. He made it sound like he was talking about an individual when it was a actual celebration of black people in Texas finding out that they were free, because Texas, it was 2.5 years, 2 years before they got this notice, because Texas was one of the last states to hold out in ending their slave processes of oppressing our people, black Americans. And Abraham Lincoln used that as a economic embargo, because the South was trying to pull away from the North and become their own separate world. They even had plans to go down to the Rio Grande near Mexico as well. Have you all heard of the Knights of the Golden Circle, which was a contingency plan in the South to collect all the slaves and bring them down to the Rio Grande area of Mexico? And of course, Mexico at that time was against slavery and said, no, get out of here with that. There are some that believe that all those so-called cowboys, the Billy the Kids that were robbing banks, that they were members of the Knights of the Golden Circle, and that they were actually robbing banks and stealing money as a way to fund this venture of the South breaking away and moving things down to the Rio Grande area. Check your history on that. This man said that, well, if it was a regular concert, can't you understand how if it was a concert about bringing all of L.A. together, therefore Mexicans should have been represented or should have been there or represented? But then he also admits that Young Jeezy, or whatever his name, who I guess is Mexican, that he did perform at the event, but yet didn't feel that there was enough representation. So on the one hand, he turns around and says that he recognizes and acknowledges that now, after getting some lessons taught to him, that the concert that Kendrick Lamar put on was not only about bringing LA together, but it was about black people and our heritage, our history, which is why the focus was around black people. But yet every time black people do something for themselves, everybody's got to run their mouth and buck their mouth and have something to say because we can't have anything. Black people, we don't disrespect, as I said in the last video, we don't disrespect the Mexican flag, Cinco de Mayo, which is really celebrated more heavily here in the States than it is in Mexico itself. And Cinco de Mayo isn't, by knowing the history that I know, doesn't have anything to do about Mexican independence. It was about a battle, a war that freed up a particular community. I think it's Plavo. My Spanish is not good. In Mexico. In America, as Black Americans, we celebrate the Juneteenth, which is why these are the true colors that should be on the Juneteenth flag, not the RGB African colors. It should be the blue, the white, and the red, just like the American flag. That's what it should be. So this man, L.A Eyekon, I'm just telling you all, it was nothing but damage control. Let's get back. Let's get to it right now, everybody. Let's get to the video in question. It's time to react.
Somebody's gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
And we are going to tell it.
You know what it is, L.A Eyekon, Food Community Podcast. You are now watching another segment of Eyekon Reacts. So, there is a viral clip on the internet right now of me, which
Let's get back to this. Sorry about that, folks.
is titled, Mexicans Feel Underrepresented at Juneteenth Concert. I'd like to add context and clarity to this whole situation. And I'd like to start off by saying, number one, I did not know that it was a Juneteenth concert.
Boom. This is the first lie, everybody, because one of his own guests in his podcast said to him, do you think that the concert in L.A. at the Forum in Inglewood, that the reason why they had mostly black representation, do you think it had anything to do with Juneteenth? That's what he was asked. Let me bring that back up again. Hang on for a minute, folks. I'm going to load up that other video so we can compare and contrast what this man is actually saying to us. Compare and contrast is very important. So if I was to put this up here,
I feel like the Mexican people were underrepresented there last night.
I feel it. I can see that.
I can see that too, man. But
And a lot of people are telling me that I sound like bitter or something. Like, I'm not a rapper, fool. I'm not tripping about not being on stage. I'm saying, like, oh, Jeezy performed, I think, last
That's dope.
night.
Yeah.
did he?
That would have been nice if he would have been on
Oh,
stage.
if he would have.
Now, maybe.
boom, right there, folks. Check this out. He was there. In this video, he's even going to acknowledge that young Jeezy was there, who is Mexican, American. But this is the part I want you to hear right here.
It did?
Mhm.
And I didn't see him perform because I caught it late.
I saw
but
the clip.
I saw
I didn't even see that
a
clip. What the
picture
fuck?
of someone posting that he performed.
Do you think it had something to do with it being Juneteenth?
Boom! So he knew. You hear what I'm saying, folks? The guy is asking him, his own, one of his, either his host or a guest is saying, do you think it has something to do with Juneteenth in the first place? Listen again. This is fair use.
Someone posting that he performed.
Do you think it had something to do with it being Juneteenth?
I don't understand.
I don't understand.
I thought Juneteenth was like on the 16th or something like that.
I thought Juneteenth was on the 16th or something like that. Now, let's take that off. Let's go back over here. We're going to be scientific about this and hear what he says in his opening, trying to do damage control. And he never gave a apology, never said, I'm sorry if I disrespected the black community, if I disrespected Kendrick Lamar, those brothers that was on the stage, those sisters. Never said, hey, I want to apologize. Just simply said, well, I didn't know it was Juneteenth, when someone on his own damn podcast brought that up to him. See, this is how the lie starts and ends and begins. Okay, but we're going to do it right over here.
Somebody's gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
And it's going to be me. Listen to this again.
Americans feel underrepresented at Juneteenth
Let me stop, move it back, and here we go.
of Eyekon Reacts. So, there is a viral clip on the internet right now of me, which is titled, Mexicans Feel Underrepresented at Juneteenth Concert. I'd like to add context and clarity to this whole situation. And I'd like to start off by saying, number one, I did not know that it was a Juneteenth concert.
Lie. Let me just tell you this.
Somebody's gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Lie because someone on your show even said, do you think it had something to do with it being Juneteenth? And then you got the dates wrong. Start saying, is it Selma, which is totally different from Juneteenth. Then you said maybe it's Tulsa, Oklahoma, where people got killed. And then you turned around and became very disrespectful by saying, well, you know, Mexican people have been killed, have been harmed in this country, in this place called America for a very, very, very long time, as if you guys, as if trying to minimize our history. You never apologized for how you said that real slick, L.A. Eyekon. But then here's the contrast, everybody. Let's play the other video, because someone on his own podcast did try to hip him to a couple of things, but he didn't listen. Check it out.
Picture of someone posting that he performed.
Do you think it had something to do with it being Juneteenth?
I don't understand. I thought Juneteenth was like on the 16th or something like that. It's on June 19th.
It was Juneteenth yesterday.
Yeah, it was Juneteenth.
So the two of his hosts are telling him right there, ladies and gentlemen, that it was, they tried to correct him as he was spilling out misinformation. He tells you on his rebuttal podcast, or his damage control video, that first of all, he didn't know it was Juneteenth. Yet the folks on his own podcast, either his host, his guests, they even made reference to Juneteenth, and he got it all goofied up.
Facts.
I respect it.
Do you think that has something to do with it?
Has something to do with what?
He turns around and says, after his own either host or guest tells him, do you think it has something to do with Juneteenth? And he gets the dates wrong, and then turns around and says he respects it, but then tries to act like he don't know now. Listen.
Juneteenth yesterday.
Yeah, it was Juneteenth. Facts.
So they say, yeah, it was Juneteenth. Facts. Now listen to him.
Respect it.
Do you think that has something
He says he respects it, and he says, do you think it has something to do with why there was no Mexican representation? Check this out.
to do with it?
Has something to do with what?
Then he says, have something to do with what?
The fact that they threw the show that day? Or that there was no Mexicans on stage?
There you go.
There you go. The fact that there was no Mexicans on the stage, even though there was someone that was Mexican on the stage, Young Jeezy. That's been confirmed. He even confirms it in this video, that the video that I'm going to show you of him chopping his gums.
To my knowledge.
Boom. Stop that right there. Bring this one over here. Boom.
Do you think it was supposed to be like?
First of all, let me start off by saying congratulations to Kendrick Lamar and all.
So as his own host or guest are telling him about what it may have represented, he doesn't want to deal with it. So he goes to, first of all, let me shout out Kendrick. but never acknowledge what his own guest or podcast host said. But it shouts out Kendrick and then goes to saying, but Mexican people have been harmed in this land for a very, very long time. As if we said that y'all wasn't harmed. As if anybody in a black community has jumped out the window and said, you know, Mexican people have never been harmed. So this is why we having this concert, and we're gonna have all black people because we suffered something in this country, but we don't think Mexican people suffered anything. Y'all have y'all celebrations, y'all have your Independence Days, y'all every damn thing, and black people never have anything to say negative about the things that you celebrate. I said that in the last other video, but check this out again.
All of the wonderful individuals that performed last night.
Hell yeah, shut them up.
So I'm not trying to go racial with it, but I will.
He says he's not trying to go racial with it. Why would you even have to go racial, L.A Eyekon?
Say,
we're just picking each other, like picking each other's brains apart.
although it was Juneteenth,
Although it was, so he knew it was, ladies and gentlemen, oh my God. He knew it was Juneteenth. He knew it was Juneteenth, but he tells you right here, we're going to dissect this tonight. He knew it was Juneteenth, but he tells you on this video right here, check it out.
you know what it is, L.A Eyekon, Food Community Podcast. You are now
Share
watching
this damn
another
video.
segment of Eyekon Reacts.
Peace to
So-
everybody in the chat.
There is a viral clip on the internet right now of me, which is titled Mexicans Feel Underrepresented at Juneteenth Concert. I'd like to add context and clarity to this whole situation. And I'd like to start off by saying, number one, I did not know that it was a Juneteenth concert.
Liar, liar, liar.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell the truth.
Liar. I just found your flaw, LA Eyekon, in your viral clip that you're trying to do damage control on now, trying to make it seem like, oh, you guys are getting it out of context because I didn't know it was Juneteenth. You had individuals on your own show telling you, do you think it has something to do with Juneteenth? You said you thought Juneteenth was on the 16th, but it's the 19th. Then you turn around and you mix it up with Tulsa, Oklahoma, Selma, March, with Dr. King and everybody who got harmed heavily by the racist, white supremacist police in that community, I think in Alabama. Everybody, if you're with me, put sevens in the chat room. If you see where I'm going, how I'm diagnosing this, put sevens in the chat room. Share the video. This is Info Media Reacts.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Share, and share alike. He's busted. His own host or guests were trying to tell him, don't you think it might have had something to do with Juneteenth? So he acknowledged that, Juneteenth, isn't that the day that's on the 16th where black people got massacred in a town? Oh, that was Tulsa, Oklahoma. You got that all mixed up. But then later on, as they were pressing you on the issue, you said, even though in light of it being Juneteenth, because they even correct you and said, nah, we think it's on the 20th or the 19th. Let's hear his bullshit again, because this video that he put out, it doesn't hold any strong weight. It actually indicts him more in his ignorance, because he started off all wrong, telling a lie that he did not know, and then he turned around and actually said, in light of it being Juneteenth, let's hear it again. See, we're going to diagnose it. Listen again.
Go racial with it, but I will say,
We're just picking each other, like picking each other's brains apart.
although it was Juneteenth,
Boom. Although it was Juneteenth. Fool, you acknowledged it. Come on, man. Come on, LA Eyekon. You acknowledged it. So that video that you put out, which wasn't a real apology, where you're trying to clarify some things, in this video that went viral, you busted, man. You're 100% busted. And good old Information Man on this channel, Info Media, I busted you. And make sure y'all subscribe to Information Man Show, my other channel as well. You busted, sir. Let's hear it again.
So I'm not trying to go racial with it, but I will say,
We're just picking each other brains apart.
although it was Juneteenth,
Boom. If y'all heard clearly out of his mouth that he said that although it was Juneteenth, put 7s in the chat room right now. Share the video.
and I believe that's in remembrance of the massacre.
So he got the actual history wrong, but he acknowledged that although, or it may have been Juneteenth, even though he got all the history all wrong. Golly, man, we got to do a better job of educating people in public schools. We got to do a better job of people learning history in this country. My God, we live in a time where you can do a simple Google search. See, this is why America is not a melting pot. It's just a solid bowl of many different ethnic groups living in their own communities, segregated to themselves or living to themselves. We're just a solid, we're a solid bowl. We're not a melting pot. We're just a bunch of people living in this society, don't understand each other, don't know each other's history, don't have much respect for one another. Damn sure don't have respect for black people who actually you wouldn't be able to be here if it wasn't for the laws and the civil rights movement and all the things that black people went through in this country to make it easier for these other ethnic groups. But check this out again. I must emphasize this other video so that you'll understand why the things that he's saying in this video that he's doing damage control and excuses on holds no weight, y'all. Listen.
I don't want to be wrong, but is it in Tulsa or in Selma
I don't even know.
or a place over there?
Or a place
I could
over
be wrong.
there. Then he says, or a place over there. I talked about this on the other video.
I hate to be wrong, but I know it's in remembrance of a massacre that took place, right? I'd like to say that the Mexican people have been persecuted in this wonderful land for a long, long, long time.
So, everybody, let me hit that clap.
Tell the truth.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I've made my case here that he did have some knowledge or some understanding that, although it may have been Juneteenth, which is about a massacre or Selma or someplace over there, which is very disrespectful, by the way, that I want to say that Mexican people have been harmed in this land for a very, very long time. Almost to say, hey, our situation is worse than black people. So how they got a damn Juneteenth and we don't have anything, right? It almost comes off that way. Which nobody said that Mexican people hadn't gone through some type of harm. Now, I wanted to play that video in contrast with the video that he's come out with, which is damage control, so that you have full context. For anybody comes in late to this video, please do me the biggest favor and watch this video from the very beginning when you have a chance. Now you will understand the context in which I'm putting things in this video as it relates to L.A Eyekon. This is L.A Eyekon. He has a YouTube channel called Food Community. This was where that video that went viral all over social media, particularly on Twitter or X. Came from his channel. This video that I'm getting ready to play again here is him trying to clarify some things, but I showed you that he's already lying in this video. He's already put his foot in his mouth, and I caught him red-handed by simply playing the other video and hearing the inconsistencies between what he says in this video from what's in the other video that got clipped and went viral, because he started off already disingenuous by saying he did not know it was Juneteenth, when you clearly saw in the video, the original clip video, that his own partners on his podcast even made the mention of Juneteenth, and he even said, although it may have been Juneteenth, which is based in some massacre, which is wrong, Mexican people have been harmed in this land for a very, very long time, as if any black people have tried to deny that. You see the disrespect here already? Let's play. Now, when I play this video, you will have better context to the argument that I'm making. Let's go ahead and hit it.
You know what it is, L.A Eyekon, Food Community Podcast. You are now watching another segment of Eyekon Reacts. So, there is a viral clip on the internet right now of me, which is titled, Mexicans Feel Underrepresented at June.
Everybody, I want to see sevens in that chat room. Get the algorithms cranking on this channel. Helps to bring more people over. Get those algorithms. Make sure you hit the likes. I'm giving you great content. I don't know how many people did what I just did. I'm pretty sure other people have played this video and did a reaction to it, but I gave you a comparison and contrast with the first video to show you where he's already lying to you in this damage control excuse video that he came out with just a few days ago. I showed you the contrast. Put those sevens in the chat room if you agree with what I just exposed in this video, with the inconsistency in the all due respect to L.A Eyekon, you weren't being an honest broker, man. When you said you didn't know, when you were already being told in that other video that you think it has something to do with it being Juneteenth, and then you even made the phrase that although it may have been Juneteenth, so you knew. And then even in this video, you make the statement about, well, what if it wasn't a Juneteenth concert and it was just a concert representing all of LA, then you would understand how my point is right when I say there was no Mexican. See, he tries to play that little game too. Let's play it now. Just want to give it all in context to everybody. Let me just play it.
Of Eyekon Reacts. So, there is a viral clip on the internet right now of me, which is titled, Mexicans Feel Underrepresented at Juneteenth Concert. I'd like to add context and clarity to this whole situation. And I'd like to start off by saying, number one, I did not know that it was a Juneteenth concert.
All right. You all know that he's lying right there, and I proved it with the receipts of the original viral clipped video. So he's already lying to you, starting off disingenuously. Put sevens if y'all hear where I'm coming from. Continue.
To my knowledge, the show was called Ken and Friends Pop-Up Concert.
Right.
I thought the show was a victory lap on him in the battle with Drake. Second of all, I did not know exactly what Juneteenth stood for.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's the most honest and, well, That's the most correct thing that he has said in this video so far. It's obvious that he did not know because he thought it was about the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre. He thought it was about Selma. And God, our educational system looks really poor in this country. What are we teaching people in L.A.? What's the history classes like in Los Angeles, California, or in this country, or even in California? What are we teaching people? Or maybe people don't give a damn about our history. They got no problem emulating our music, our dress, our clothing, our style, our cool. But when it comes to who we really are in our history, people really don't give a damn. But they got no problem culture voting off of our music because rap music was created by black people. There's no doubt about that. Black Americans. I already went over that in the other video. So everybody has no problem with trying to like culture vote off of what we produce as far as our style, our clothing, our attitude, our movement, our dance, our rhythm. But when it comes to who we really are as a people, nobody really gives a damn, doesn't pay attention. And the educational system in this country, particularly in the urban environment, like a place like L.A., it sucks to high heaven.
Somebody's gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Because, golly, you gotta laugh to keep from crying, y'all. You gotta laugh to keep from crying. This shit is crazy. Let's get back to it.
I know now.
You know now.
Juneteenth stands for and is celebrated because of the emancipation of people that were enslaved, aka the abolishment of slavery.
Right.
So, shout out to Juneteenth, right?
Shout out to Juneteenth, right? As if Juneteenth is a living individual, but now he's learned his lesson, right? Juneteenth, the arrival of the federal troops in Galveston, Texas in 1865 to take control over states, ensuring that all enslaved people be freed. So now he must have been doing his research, right? But check it out. But he already lied to you in the beginning of his excuse video. Let's get back to it.
But my statement was clipped and titled, which took away the context from which my statement, which was
Here we go. This is the lie right here again, folks. So yes, he's right. The video was clipped, but he's trying to play it's out of context. No, it's in context because you said you were told on that video that you said it was out of context. You were told by the guys on the podcast with you, do you think it has something to do with it being Juneteenth? Then you said Juneteenth was the 16th, and you had it all mixed up with other shit. But then at the end of that clip, you truly acknowledged that, hey, although it may have been Juneteenth, and then you turn around and say, let's shout out Kendrick Lamar. You gave him some respect, but you try to marginalize the fact that, hey, this might have been because of Juneteenth, which is why it was a celebration around mainly black people there. And you say in this video that you're gonna that I'm playing right now, or I'm gonna finish playing, that you don't feel no entitled. It's not about entitlement, but you clearly said near the end of that video, close to the end, that although it was Juneteenth, shout out to Kendrick, Mexican people have been suffering in this country for many, 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 many years, as if nobody doesn't, as if we as black people have jumped out the window and have said that y'all never went through anything. Even in the other video I did, I acknowledged and even went over the history of Cinco de Mayo and said, hey, everybody has a right to their cultural celebrations, their language, their style, their hair, their food, everything. I also mentioned that, the black Mexicans in Mexico get treated very poorly, L.A Eyekon. And at one point in time, Mexico did have slavery before they ended slavery. Oh, you're going to learn tonight on Info Media Reacts. See, my reaction channel is not just about only reviewing videos, but also give you some information, knowledge that you can walk away with.
Tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Let's continue.
Started off the statement by saying, I woke up this morning to a lot of posts about Kendrick Lamar unifying Los Angeles gangs on that stage. Kendrick had all of Los Angeles outside, things of that nature. Again, I did not know it was a Juneteenth event. Nowhere.
He's just lied to you again, everybody. You did know that it was a Juneteenth event, L.A Eyekon, because at the end of doing that video, you were told, again, everybody, do you think it has something to do with Juneteenth? And you even said, although it was Juneteenth, man, do I have to play the receipt again and again and again? I will do so because you're not being an honest broker. Here we go.
Go racial with it, but I will say,
We're just picking each other brains apart.
although it was Juneteenth, and I believe that's in remembrance of the massacre. I don't want to be wrong, but is it in Tulsa or in Selma
I don't even know.
or a place?
There it is. There it is, folks. He lied. He began the video telling a tale and continues to tell the same tale again. And you witnessed it. This is Info Media Reacts, y'all.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
You just saw it for yourself. You just heard it for yourself. You just heard it for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. On these YouTube streets, we're going to tell the truth.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
So he's already lied again. Let's play more.
In my mind, do I think Mexicans or Latinos are entitled to perform at a Juneteenth event? One Latino did, shout out to OGZ. But again,
And remember, in the beginning of his clip video, they were talking about, oh, maybe the young legend has other things he's doing and blah, 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 blah. But yet, he did perform.
I don't think we're entitled to perform at
Let's get back to it. I'm sorry about that, everybody.
such an event. Now, I think it's safe to say
Yeah, you are not entitled. You have no entitlement. And black people, we don't try to make ourselves entitled to your events. We never have. And you don't see us on our podcast talking about there should have been more black representation at an event that is culturally to you and your people. We don't do that kind of stuff. We might go to a Cinco de Mayo event, have a good time, but we don't say, you know what? I'm at a Cinco de Mayo event for Mexican people. And damn it, I don't see enough black people represented here. You see how goofy that would be? Let's continue.
all of you would agree that if it wasn't a Juneteenth event, my statement has absolute validity. There's no Mexican.
You see how he plays the game? One, he starts this video off lying to you by saying he didn't know it was Juneteenth when he clearly recognized that it was Juneteenth in that video. Lied to you not once, but twice and 3 times a lady.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
But then turns around and says, but see, if it wasn't a Juneteenth event, Do you see how I have a point? But that's not the point. The point is it was a Juneteenth event / concert / Kendrick Lamar putting Drake in his place. It was that. Let's not get into this if it was or if it could. No, let's deal with what is and not what could be, okay? Because what could is not what was. You see, L.A Eyekon. Back to it. Okay, let's just be honest about this, man.
On stage, and you're saying all of Los Angeles hip hop scene is present, or all of the gangs in Los Angeles are being represented, then yeah, there should be Mexicans there.
But see that this is the thing, L.A Eyekon. Let me listen to what I'm about to say to you, man. This is the problem. I see your point that if it was a concert that's supposed to represent all the street organizations in all of LA, just a regular concert, not with the component of Juneteenth, then I can kind of understand what you're saying, but that's not the reality. See, that's your reality of what you wanted, which is why you said in the first place, there ain't no Mexicans represented. Okay? That's the reason why you said, that's the reason why you said,
there ain't no Mexicans that was involved or represented.
Okay? And see, that's not the reality. I'm going to say again.
Tell the truth.
That was not the reality.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
The reality is that it was a / Juneteenth pop-out show performance by Kendrick Lamar, and he brought the black street gangs or street organizations together and black people, but there were other race of people that were in the audience. They bought a ticket to go see it. He brought that group together because of the day being Juneteenth and all that represented there within the black community in Los Angeles, or those at least on the stage, because you know there were all different kind of race of people that were in that audience. Come on now. So that's what it was in reality, L.A. Eyekon. It wasn't what you want in fantasy, which is the idea that everybody is going to be kumbaya. Look, man, if it was that type of concert, now I can understand your point, but let's stick in reality. It wasn't that type of concert. So therefore, what you're saying, although it has some good merits to it, if it was that type of concert where it was about showing and showcasing everybody of all groups, all races in the community, I hear you. But I'd like to know, when was the last time that, and I don't want to be disrespectful here, but when was the last time that the Mexican community or the Mexican hip hop community or rap community, when was the last time you guys threw something where it was just all of y'all together celebrating your belief systems, and you decided to say, wait a minute, we got to make sure we have black people here? Because I know for a fact that throughout California, and particularly in Los Angeles, that y'all throw all types of celebrations that y'all be doing. And y'all don't go out of y'all way to say, you know what? Why is it that we need to make sure we have black people represented here? I'm pretty sure there's tons of events that happen in LA where you have Mexican people coming together in solidarity, and y'all not going out of your way to say, make sure we have some black folks represented. Because why? Because you created an event, or you have an event where you're mainly catering to the Mexican community. Y'all have that all the time. So therefore, in this case, with the Kendrick Lamar concert that they had, which was a pretty poppin' concert, okay, in the city of Los Angeles, how y'all like that skyline there, y'all? Huh? Can't even get my words right.
Tell the truth.
How y'all like that skyline, that LA skyline there, huh? downtown L.A. area, y'all. City of Angels. Let's get back to more.
Again, the clip was taken. It was titled what it was titled. We do live in a content era on the internet, and they make content of my statement. It's unfortunate that it was taken out of context.
Boom. Once again, this ain't an apology video. This is simply a damage control video, the typical video where you say, I was taken out of context. I mean,
I was taken out of context.
bullshit. You were taken exactly for what you said, and I displayed that and exposed that tonight. You were aware eventually that it was about Juneteenth because the individuals on your own podcast had made reference to that and said, hey, we're doing some brain searching here. And then you at the end, as I said before, said out of your own mouth, that although it was Juneteenth, now you said that. Let's stop playing around. You said it.
So I'm not trying to go racial with it, but I will say,
we're just picking each other's brains apart.
although it was Juneteenth, and I believe that's in remembrance of the massacre. I don't want to be wrong, but is it in Tulsa or in Selma?
I don't even know.
Or a place over there? I could be wrong, and I hate to be wrong, but I know it's in remembrance of a massacre that took place, right? I'd like to say that the Mexican people have been persecuted in this wonderful land for long.
Boom. Yes, Mexican people have been persecuted. But like I said in the other video, y'all never were slaves. You weren't put in slavery. You weren't slaves. You were able to come to America with your shoes and your pants on, not in shackle slavery. You never had your family sold off. You were able to come to this country. And for those of you that worked in the fields, even though you got paid poor wages, you still got a wage. My people didn't get any wage for working this land before you were working in those farms. We were in plantations, whips and chains on our backs. So once again, you knew because you made that statement, which means everything else that you're saying in this video that you made is an excuse. It's a lie. And I've always been taught that, and I'm going to tell the truth.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I've always been taught that excuses are tools of the incompetent, and those that use them seldom succeed.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I just got to tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Let's hear. So he's making the excuse that everything's been taken out of context. Once again, this is damage. I'm going to say it again. This is damage control, y'all.
And it was clipped. However it was clipped.
It doesn't matter if it was clipped, however it was clipped. You said what you said in that video. Even in this whole thing about, it was out of context. Whoever clipped that video originally, they clipped it and you said exactly what you said. You said it. There's no doubt about it, which is why you're doing the damage control video, but you never apologize and you're simply saying, y'all took me out of context. I'm here to tell you bullshit.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Once again.
But it is what it is, and here we are. So again,
what it is.
I did not know it was a Juneteenth event. I did not know what Juneteenth stood for.
He lied again. He did not know what Juneteenth stood for. He's correct about that because he got it all mixed up with Selma, the March on Selma over the Edith Pettus Bridge. He got it all mixed up with Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, which was the only, ladies and gentlemen, this is history. Everybody believes that Pearl Harbor was the first bombs that were dropped on America. No, it wasn't. It was Tulsa, Oklahoma, when white racist citizens who were also in the military got in their planes and dropped literally bombs on top of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Let me show y'all something here. I'm making a point here. Same point I made in the other video. Bear with me. These points are very important. Let me find that. Boom. Here's a great, here's a picture that you can see what I'm talking about. Check this out. Let me enlarge this. You see that right there? The whole town was bombed completely. From the sky, they burned the buildings, they tore everything down, they destroyed everything in sight. Jealous because black people had achieved something at this time. Look at this picture right here. Burning everything down that black people had in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921. And there's two living, there's Miss Randall and Miss Fletcher, who this country has yet to give reparations to. And it's a damn shame. I'm showing this for a reason. This woman right here, let me put I'm going to get the other picture of the other beautiful. These women are in there. They're 109 and 10 years old. That's Miss Randall right there. This is Miss Fletcher right here. They were children when this happened. They survived this massacre. They are the only living victims of this, and they have not gotten reparations out of this administration or any administration. And recently, the Oklahoma Supreme Court dismissed their case. They will not make these folks right down there. But this man, L.A Eyekon, makes excuses and says, y'all took me out of context. But that video clip, even however short it was, it told us everything we need to know about you, man, as it relates to this issue. And like I said, I got nothing against Mexican people. They have a great history, a great culture, everything, you know. I got nothing against them, but at all. So this isn't about trying to punch down on all Mexican people. It's about the fact that I don't think everybody respects everybody's culture. And it's obvious that people don't learn people's culture or history, should I say, in these damn schools. And I feel like if people are going to piggyback off of black culture when it comes to our creative abilities, and you want to be a part of the culture, whether it be our rap music, maybe you should learn a little bit about us too and what we've been through to bring you this damn art in the first place. Let's continue to hear what he's saying here.
I now know, and Mexicans are not entitled to be present on a stage celebrating Juneteenth. But yeah, that's what it is, man.
Now, he makes a good point there. You're not entitled. He also reinforces that he did not know the history. But that part about him not knowing that it was Juneteenth, that part was bullshit, because I played the video several times. Y'all heard it. And you know that he was lying. Put sevens in the chat room if you agree with my premise tonight, where the reaction show is going. Y'all keep sharing the videos. Keep checking out my content. I will be giving you uploaded videos on this channel. Keep supporting the channel. We want to take this channel somewhere. We want to keep building it up over here. I appreciate everybody in the chat room. What I'm about to do before I end the program tonight, I am going to give you some history, some more history, but I am going to look at your statements in the chat room and read them before I end. Okay? Let's hear the rest of what he's saying here.
Shout out to Juneteenth, now that I know what it actually stands for.
Okay.
Shout out to Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to all of those of you at home that also didn't know what Juneteenth was.
Okay.
But now you know exactly what Juneteenth stands for because of this video. You know, shout out to everyone watching the food community, man. Happens. Excuse my ignorance. Yeah.
Okay, so he says at the end to excuse his ignorance. See, that's what he should have said in the beginning. He should have, in the beginning, apologized, said, hey, I was ignorant. I didn't know this history properly. Even though I said that, hey, it's Juneteenth and Mexican people have been under harm as well. He never apologized for the disrespect to what the day really meant to black people. He should have acknowledged that from the very beginning as part of the premise of the video. But he was so busy trying to say, well, you see how my point is correct. If it had just been a regular concert, it wasn't a regular concert. So therefore, your point isn't valid, because if it had been a regular concert and they didn't invite you in terms of representing LA, then you would have something to gripe about. But that's not what it was. So therefore, I don't want to hear that woulda, coulda, shoulda type of stuff. Now, this man needs a history lesson, because there was a time in Mexico where Mexico did have slavery, but they ended slavery. Oh, yes, they did. Let me give y'all a history. Maybe Mr. L.A Eyekon, man, why don't you go on YouTube? Why don't you do a Google search and find out the connection to black people or black Seminoles to Mexico? And even though you didn't know about Juneteenth properly, guess what's crazy about this? Do you know they even celebrate Juneteenth in Mexico, in a particular community, a town, a small community in Mexico where they have black Mexicans who in Mexico, they don't treat them very well? Did y'all know that they have black Mexicans in Mexico? Put sevens in the chat room. Did you know that they actually celebrate Juneteenth in Mexico, the place of his people's ancestry? Did you know that? With the black Mexicans that are descendants of this black Seminole Indians who settled in this town and have a long history. Everybody, let's go ahead and play it.
It's just become a family reunion plus.
As more visitors learn about the tribe of the Negros Mascogos, the Black Seminoles, forced out of Florida after the Indian Wars of the mid-1800s, many had to cross the Gulf of Mexico by boat, then up the Mississippi, joining other tribes on the infamous Trail of Tears to Oklahoma. Yet even there, slave catchers pursued black Seminoles who'd never been enslaved.
Because, they were African as well as Native American.
That's why it's said 700 black Seminoles began a treacherous second Trail of Tears to Mexico, where slavery had been outlawed. Once there, the Mexican government allowed the seasoned black Seminole Indian scouts to stay if they'd protect settlers against Indian raids.
But for payment, our ancestors asked for land. So that's how we got Nacimiento.
Named Nacimiento de los Negros to mark the birth of blacks in their new country. Known here as simply the 19th or El 19, it's believed El Día de los Negros began as a day of solidarity in the 1870s after the Negros Mascogos finally learned of the Emancipation Proclamation.
We are cheering that our brothers and sisters in Texas are finally free.
Not just in a symbolic sense, says Ohio State Assistant Professor Maria Hammock, since some black Seminoles still had family in the U.S. Sadly, it's said, much of that history was buried with their ancestors, like those in the Black Seminole Scout Cemetery in Brackettville, just west of San Antonio.
Right, they didn't know why they were celebrating. They didn't even know why they were on that land.
Except now, with the opening of the Casa de la Cultura, perhaps future generations will come to know and never forget Los Negros Mascogos.
They came from strong, brave people, so they would rather die than be enslaved.
Tell the truth.
Ladies and gentlemen, did you get something out of that? Wasn't that exciting history? This man right here, who sort of marginalized Juneteenth, underestimated and undervalued it because he didn't really know. He comes on this podcast show, says a few things that were incorrect, says now he knows the history, but I wonder if he even knows in many other Mexican Americans that this celebration that we celebrate in America, Juneteenth, as Black Americans, is also celebrated by black Mexicans in Mexico, in that particular town, in that particular village or town. There was a history that's been forgotten, a history that's being buried. There's a history, everybody. There's definitely a history. How many of y'all in the chat room knew this history? Put sevens in the chat room if you knew this. What's going on, everybody? This is what I mean about poor educational systems in places like Los Angeles, in terms of those really bad urban schools, these schools that are in urban environments in L.A., schools that don't have, many public schools who don't have great resources. They're not teaching history. Kids are being bored in these schools in this town and all throughout the country because we don't really teach kids and teach other groups of people our history so we can know what everybody's been through so that you can gain an understanding and a better respect. It's crazy. What do you all think?
Tell the truth.
Now let's go over here to another history that I'm very happy to present to you. This is Vicente Guerrero, right here, y'all. My Spanish is not great, but this is one of the first. He's Black and Mexican. He was Mexico's president, believe it or not. So this is about history. Vicente Guerrero is the first and only Black person to have become the president of Mexico. He served as president of the country from April 1829 until February 1831. Did y'all know about that, everybody? Put sevens in the chat room if you did.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
He served from April 1829 until February 1831 when he was captured and then assassinated. See, they assassinated him, and I'm going to tell you why. He was only 39 years old at the time of his death. So this man was the president of Mexico, took Mexico over when they were having a lot of economic issues. At 39 years old, that's young. Let's put some more good stuff up here. Guerrero was very well known and respected as a revolutionary hero who fought for the country's independence from Spain, because Mexico used to be called, if I'm not mistaken, New Spain. That was the name of Mexico before it became Mexico. It was called New Spain. They were trying to get independence from Spain. During the president's he fought against racial oppression. This is very important. This is why they had to knock him out of the box. He's the one responsible for ending slavery in Mexico.
Tell the truth.
During his presidency, he fought against racial oppression and even abolished slavery many years before Abraham Lincoln. He did it many years before Abraham Lincoln, y'all. Many years before Abraham Lincoln, he did the same in the United States of America, but Guerrero also fought for the economic oppression as well. In fact, he did quite a bit to enhance public schools, land titles, reforms, and other programs throughout the country. Mexico has more black history than most people think, everybody.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
During the 16th century, Mexico, known as I told y'all before, known as New Spain, had the largest number of African slaves. Remember I told you they used to have slavery in Mexico, but they ended. Had the largest number of African slaves of all Americas. What is that telling you? What is that telling you, everybody? That means that Mexico had more black slaves, more slaves, than even America. More than they had in the South or the North. They had more black people in slavery in Mexico than they had even in what we call America. And you know, at one point in time, it was all territories. How many of y'all knew that history?
Tell the truth.
Have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
The census of that time showed that Afro-Mexicans were the majority in most urban towns at the time, y'all.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth.
Tell the
and I'm
truth.
gonna tell it.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man Podcast.
The majority of the urban towns in Mexico were made of Afro-Mexicans. You get what I'm saying to you? The man who ended, because everybody likes to always say Mexico didn't have slavery. They ended slavery. The man who ended slavery was a black Afro-Mexican himself, Vicente Guerrero. That's why they probably had to take him out of the box, eliminate him, delete him, because he was too damn progressive. Even in modern day, there are almost 3 million people who lived in Mexico who identified themselves as Afro-Mexican. Oh my God.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Here's another picture of him. Check out this picture. That's the other picture that I put up earlier. This picture here, everybody. But check out the picture to the right. He was a brother. Here is this caption right here. Slavery. In 1829, the president of Mexico, Vicente Guerrero, issued a decree or an official order abolishing slavery in Mexico. It was known as the Guerrero Decree. All right, all right. It was known as the Guerrero Decree. Texas argued their economics would fail without slavery and received an exemption. Texas argued their economy, should I say, would fall or fail without slavery and received an exemption. And remember, that's how you got the Alamo. Remember the whole war of the Alamo? That's because Mexico at that time said, Mexico told white folks that were trying to bring their slaves over there, get out of here. Slavery is no longer a part of our country. We have a black Mexican man to thank for that. Remember that almost 3 million people who lived in Mexico at that time identified themselves as Afro-Mexican. Afro-Mexicans were the majority in most urban cities in Mexico, y'all.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Here's a statue of him in honor. Check this out. There's a statue in Mexico in his honor. Okay.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
What do you all think about that? I told you on this reaction channel, what separates me from the rest is that I not only react to the videos and give you commentary, but you're also going to learn something over here too.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Info Media Reacts, hence the name.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
This man right here, black people, we should be we should have a holiday in America where we should be recognizing this brother right here, Vicente Guerrero. Yeah, y'all. What y'all think?
Tell the truth.
L.A Eyekon, full community.
So, L.A Eyekon, let's play this again.
You know what it is, baby. I'm out.
So, check this out. I'm just going to play the beginning of what he said again for further clarification. Again.
You know what it is, L.A Eyekon, full community podcast. You are now watching another segment of Eyekon Reacts. So, there is a viral clip on the internet right now of me, which is titled, Mexicans Feel Underrepresented at Juneteenth Concert. I'd like to add context and clarity to this whole situation. And I'd like to start off by saying, number one, I did not know that it was a Juneteenth concert. To my knowledge, the show was called Ken and Friends.
Boom. You already know that I showed you from the other original clip that in that clip near the end, he said that although it was Juneteenth, because his partners on the podcast had acknowledged that, hey, maybe it was because of the Juneteenth. But I'm going to leave it right there. This is what's crazy about this. This man is Mexican. And I bet you he doesn't even know, because he damn sure didn't know what Juneteenth meant. He thought it was mixed up. He thought it was Selma. He thought it was the massacre in Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921. So if he didn't know that, I bet you any kind of money that he don't even know that they practice or celebrate Juneteenth in Mexico, where his people come from, with the Afro-Mexicans who only a couple of years ago, they acknowledged the black, in Mexico, they didn't acknowledge black Mexicans on their census. They just now, in the last, couple of years back, just recognize them as a group in the country. Can y'all believe that?
Tell the truth.
So I wonder how many Mexican Americans like L.A Eyekon even know the history in their own country. And I wonder if he even knows that the man that's responsible for his people's country, that his people come from, that they had a black Afro-Mexican man who, of course, they killed him, right? Because he was doing too much. He ended slavery. He was progressive with the economic stability of the country of Mexico. So somebody knocked him out of the box because he was doing too many damn good things. So they said, well, we got to get this, using the Spanish word for black, we got to get this Negro out of here. How many of y'all black, how many of y'all Mexican Americans and Chicanos, La Raza, how many of y'all know that this man right here was an Afro-Mexican who's responsible for y'all revolution, responsible for driving the Spanish out when your country used to be called New Spain? Why is it that I know more about why is it that I know some of your history and I'm telling it correctly?
Tell the truth.
And you can't get our history right. But I can give you some of your own history that you may not even know from your own motherland. Ain't that crazy, y'all? Ain't that crazy?
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
let's see what's going on in the chat room right now. Everybody, please keep the comments and the statements pertaining to the content tonight, because I really want to hear what your thoughts are about my presentation, this whole situation, and how I broke it down, and what your thoughts are as it relates to the topic. Everybody in the chat room, be respectful to each other. No personal comments at each other in a negative way. If somebody's out of line, completely out of line, mods, you know what to do. I'm here. All my Uber drivers that I even had that was a immigrant listened to rappers in their own language. That's coping, future, dialogue. Okay. FBA ninjas in the house. My Latino coworkers just told me that he did not know that there was an Afro-Mexican, their president. That's right.
Tell the truth.
Let's go with Art D. Let me see. Art D. I think your last name is Mundo. I don't know how I may not be saying your name right, sir. I apologize, but you say spot on your presentation tonight. Thank you. Thank you.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make
I
sure
appreciate
to
you.
subscribe to his channel.
We got Night Owl who's just come in and says, I'm loving how you're dropping it, my brother. Thank you. I'm loving how you coming over and you're supporting the channel. We're going to keep doing this. I got a lot more to come. It's a reaction channel, but this is a reaction channel where we react to videos, but we also get a little knowledge to go along to reacting as well. Thank you again. We got dope show, bro. Keep teaching the family. I appreciate you. I'll just say BLVD73. Thank you. I may not be pronouncing that correct. I apologize if I'm not. We got Terrain in the house. Terrain Howard. Terry, if I'm saying that name correct, you say, tell them, get Cortez, dig out them. Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness. Let me see. Who else do we have in here? We got Tim in the house who says, Night Owl, aware in who? We got Pat Ma. I don't know if I'm saying these names correct. Like Tim, they want to be white so bad. Okay. Everybody, I really appreciate everyone coming over. Let me see what Tim is saying right here. The United States and Mexico have never had a black president. Let me see. The United States and Mexico have never had a black president. They had mixed presidents. Let me see. Care to disagree, list the people, parents. Well, I've already laid the history out and I played a video for you guys, and you can find these videos on YouTube. I did acknowledge that you had black Seminoles who came over from Florida. They were trying to get away because they found out that they were going to be enslaved, because the Seminoles always fought against being enslaved. They couldn't enslave the Seminoles. They was fighting. They migrated over to Mexico because you had the Trail of the Tears. Remember Andrew Jackson, that horrible president? He stole land from Native American people and put them in the southwestern part of the country on land and reservations that it wasn't even their land. That it wasn't, well, all this was their land, but they displaced them. They called it Trail of Tears and put diseases in blankets to try to eliminate them. Remember that history? Well, these were black Indians who sailed into Mexico. These are Afro-Mexicans. These are black Mexicans. Cannot be denied. There's tons of videos that you can find on YouTube where they're doing dances, they're doing celebrations. It ain't denied, man. These is black people. They may not be black Americans, but these are people in the video I played. These people got family here in the States. They got black American family here in the States because they were originally over here. And then their ancestors came over and they grew up in culture in Mexico, and they intermarried, of course. Got black Mexicans, man, can't be denied. Can never be denied. We got, what's up, Pop Off Podcast? Pop Off Podcast comes in strong and says, It's in Mexico, museums, Chicago teachers a lot of this stuff. Remember, the one drop rule exists back then. Correct.
Tell the truth.
We got the day says they hate us because they not us. We're unity. Nationally, we would be unstoppable. Yeah, if we unified nationally, we would be unstoppable. You're actually right. We got, why do black people want to hijack native, indigenous? Oh my God. I'm going to say it again. You had black people that were black Seminoles. I played that video tonight. Come on, man. Let's stop it. Do we have to play it again?
But for payment, our ancestors asked for land.
This is a black Mexican whose ancestors were those Seminoles.
So that's how we got Nacimiento.
Named Nacimiento de los Negros to mark the birth of blacks in their new country. Known here as simply the 19th or El 19, it's believed El Día de los Negros began as a day of solidarity in the 1870s.
Solidarity with black Americans, our Juneteenth as well.
After the Negros Mascogos finally learned of the Emancipation Proclamation.
We are hearing that our brothers and sisters in Texas are finally free.
Facts. And now let me play something else. I want to play the part when it talks about there we go. It starts talking about the black Seminoles. So don't come up in here talking about, well, black people be trying to claim indigenous or native. No, we had black people that was, check this out.
The black Seminoles. Forced out of Florida after the Indian Wars of the mid-1800s, many had to cross the Gulf of Mexico by boat, then up the Mississippi, joining other tribes on the infamous Trail of Tears to Oklahoma.
What did I just say?
Yet even there, slave catchers pursued black Seminoles who'd never been in.
Look at them. These are black Seminoles. So don't give me that stuff about, oh, black people trying to like take somebody else. No, they existed, y'all. This is
enslaved.
Because, they were African as well as Native American.
That's
boom. I said it. Boom. Get out of here with that. Nothing but truth that just came at you. Boom. And I'm going to tell it, and I'm going to tell it to you when you come over with nonsense. Black people are from America, just don't know it. What's going on, brother? We've got, let me see right here. We got the sister that's coming in here right now. So I love your channel. Just subscribe. Thank you, my sister, for subscribing. I'm going to have to figure out the pronunciation of your name, but I really appreciate you coming over and putting that statement in there and saying that you love the channel and you just subscribe. Thank you. Let me go over here to my man Mike B, who says, Billy, you see why the past is important. Mike B, thank you for saying that. We can never forget our past. Don't listen to people that tell you not to study your history about the past. Look, we can chew gum, ride a bike. Black people, we can do all sort of multi-dimensional things. We should always remember our history while going forward into our future and improving ourselves, but never forget where you come from. Jewish people never forget where they come from. Asian people never forget. No other culture tells their people to forget their history, but black people sometimes on these YouTube streets will tell other black folks, oh, why you want to talk about that? Come on, don't talk about that. We got to stop that, okay?
Tell the truth.
We got black, the tours, let me see right here. Father Jose Morales, I can't pronounce that, was a general in the War of Independence from Spain. He died in the battle before Guerrero took over as general. Thank you for that history. And remember, Guerrero is the one responsible for ending slavery in Mexico, right? I'm going to get ready to end my presentation, but remember, in Mexico, there was a black man, right? Here is Guerrero right here. This is why I think we should really put this man on a pedestal, because he was involved in helping Mexico get their independence. And he also was involved with abolishing slavery in Mexico. And he also was involved with trying to help the economics of the economy of the country that was in the dumps when the country was controlled by Spain in its original name that it was given by the Spaniards, which was New Spain, but we know it as Mexico now. So let me get ready to go back in here. I'm going to be ending pretty soon, everybody. I know it's late for everybody across the country. It's late for me now. And let me see. We got Billy Mack, who just came in and says this. I never said that, though. Okay, so there must be some type of conversation going on in the chat. Let me see here. History. I studied Latin history. Let me see. The Pop-Off podcast says, I studied Latin history in college and buying books. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Dennis comes in here and says, I'm from Germany and we learned this in school, but our school system doesn't nice words when it comes to history. Meaning you guys don't BS. Y'all don't BS. Y'all tell it like it is. In America, as sophisticated as we're supposed to be in America, they still BS around with the history in this country. The truth of the matter is, you don't really get deep history in America unless you start getting the books on your own, unless you go to college and you take certain classes. I know at San Francisco State University, where I went to college, San Francisco State was one of the first universities to have an ethnic studies department in which you can study about Mexican or Chicano history, Black history, African history, Asian history, all of it. You name it, we got it. So I'm proud to say that I learned from some of the best professors, Black professors, Wade Nobles, Dr. Tashaka, Dr. Rich. I've learned from some of the best. And guess what? Like Nellie Fuller always says, you're always learning. Okay, everybody?
True.
Let's go with Black Baja. Let me say that name correct. We got Black Baja Tours. Black Baja Tours says Jose Morales is also Afro-Mexican. He's on the $50 peso bill since 1994. Let's get that a clap. Fantastic. Fantastic. You just taught me something that I didn't know, Black Baja Tours. Thank you very much for putting that information out there. Jose Morales. He's on the $50, what is it, the 50 peso bill. I love it. This is great stuff. Everybody, I got to get ready to end the program because it's getting late for everybody, for me, for you. If you've been enjoying this program, put 7s in the chat room. Do me a great favor and share this video in all of your social media. Let people know about the channel. It's a reaction channel, so you know I'm going to be reacting to all different types of subjects and videos, but I'm going to try to set myself apart by also adding an educational component to my reaction videos when it comes to stuff like this. So I really appreciate y'all. Make sure you do me the biggest favor, and you see this up here. Go ahead. I want to say to you right now, I want to say thank you for watching tonight, okay? I want to say like and comment, subscribe to the channel, and do all those great things like that. It's been great talking to you all tonight. Appreciate you all. Let's all enjoy our week. We're getting ready to go into the weekend, and be on the lookout because I'm going to hit you with another great video, if not an uploaded video, going into the weekend. So we're going to keep this thing going over here pretty strong. Also, just so you know, I'm known as Information Man on the YouTube streets. I do have another channel called Information Man Show, where I usually go live on Sundays on that channel. And this is a channel that used to be my podcast channel. I hadn't done anything on it in a while, and I've now started to revamp the channel, rebrand it to the name that it is now. And this format that I'm doing is working. It's effective, and we're going to keep it going. And we're going to be getting into all different subject matters, and we're going to talk about these things the way the mainstream media ain't going to give it to you. With that said, everybody, y'all take care. Peace and blessings. Peace.